Some say it's a half-day park, but we don't think so. Unpacking all we love about Animal Kingdom, plus our usual brand of brother-sister banter. Let's bring back the magic.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bring Back the Magic. This episode is brought to you by Theme Park Chuckle. Go on themeparkchuckle.com and you can grab yourself a Trader Sam's Diabetes Tiki Bar shirt. With drinks this sweet, you'll lose your feet. Catchy little saying there. So go on themeparkchuckle.com. All right, and I want to remind everybody this episode is rated TV 14, so younger viewers, please have your parents' permission if you're going to watch. We do keep it clean here, but we want to make sure we give that rating. So, I am one of your hosts. I am Josh.
And I am his sister, Gina. And for those of you just joining us, welcome aboard. And please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell on YouTube to make sure you don't miss a minute of the magic.
Nice. Yeah. I like it. So again, another great episode we hope we have in store for you because
we make a lot of promises at the start of these episodes.
And I plan on keeping none of them.
It's going to be great. And then I pat myself on the back at the end and tell myself
it's going to be the most fast-forwarded episode ever.
This is why I love that Mom's our first viewer, because she always makes me feel good about whatever we put out.
That's her job.
Yes. But that being said, with our new format, she is going to be very disappointed to learn that she cannot watch them the second we finish recording. She's been very used to that on our previous
maybe
software.
Shouldn't spoil her. So,
yeah.
So what to talk about? What's going on as far as Gina over there? Everything good with you?
Everything is great, Josh. Once again, I want to say, we talked about in our last episode, but this beautiful studio that you have crafted for us here, which we're calling Jepcot. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, maybe it's obvious to some people because they know our last name is Jeppy, but that Jepcot name has been a name in our family for a very long time.
Yeah, my father coined Jepcot Center back when we were kids because he used to say, he's like, oh, if only I owned this park, and it would be Jepcot Center. And we always laughed about that.
Yes, but our dad's a big dream big type person, and he used to always say, one day when I own this, or one day when we build our own, or whatever. So it's a very fun, Josh and I love nostalgia and we love family. It's a nice little nod to that. So
no, I like that. We were talking before we got on the podcast about things. What is your must-do Disney thing? So when you leave for Disney and you're like, as soon as I get to the parks, I'll know I'm in Disney. I know I have arrived and I've gotten to do the big thing I want to do when I do what?
Ride the People Mover. I feel like I haven't gone to Disney if I haven't ridden the People Mover. It's been there my entire existence, even with its little mild changes here and there, but just that little, flight around basically Tomorrowland, chilling, relaxing. It's a social ride because you can talk on it and not feel guilty about that. It's fun for all ages. It has gotten a little harder for Mom just that ramp. And I do think we discovered last time there might be an elevator to get up there, which we've never had to use before.
There has to be. There can't be.
There's got to be.
There's literally, they can't be something. We need to discover that. We need to go and see because I think by all accounts, you can't have that because it would eliminate the people that could ride it and it would be an ADA issue.
Right. So there's got to be. We just have never utilized it before. And now it's just because that ramp is so hard to get up. But anyway, the short answer to that is ride the People Mover. I absolutely have to do that every single trip to really feel like, and ideally I'd love to do it early in the trip because it really just is kind of kick off the trip for me.
Yeah. Do you know what mine is?
Get a Dole Whip?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Nothing hits quite like that creamy, delicious Dole Whip. The first hot day of summer. Creamy pineapple deliciousness. Gotta have my Dole Whip.
Oh my God. But here's a quiz for you, because we have talked about having an episode where, and I really think it should be the next one we do, where we quiz each other to see how well we know each other's answers on something and
I'd say pretty fairly well.
But here's one for you. There is an answer to that question of must do Disney. Back when we would do Disney trips, something that I always had to do the second that we got to Disney and did pretty much the length of the entire Disney trip. But one thing that always made me feel like I was in Disney. Do you remember what that was?
What? Okay. The information channel?
Yes, very good. 1 point for Josh. 1 point for Josh. Josh, bring up the
Ding,
scoreboard.
ding, ding, ding.
Yes, it was. For those who don't know, if you stay at a Disney resort, it used to just be one channel that was on your TV. It was a resort channel, and it's gone through many changes. I remember back to when it was Jiminy Cricket that hosted it, and it went off at 2 a.m, and it was like kind of went to a test pattern from there. And then it started going into like other hosts. Most people know Stacy from Must Do Disney, which, by the way, that is my dream job. When people say, what's your dream Disney job? My initial answer is always, I'd love to be designing Disney merch. But really, to be able to be hosting one of those like information channel shows, I would absolutely love that. But now it's expanded into multiple channels.
I feel like your life would have been like Samantha Brown,
yes,
like going around just traveling.
Yes,
Who wouldn't love that gig?
Yes, that's something Missy would love to do. That should be perfect for that. For me, I still get a little flight anxiety at times to be traveling that much, especially now that I'm a mom. But Disney, just being able to ride like all the Disney stuff and show off everything Disney, I would absolutely love that. But it's changed now. Like the new whatever it is, it's not the same kind of vibe to me. I forget what they even call it now. It's not.
There's
Must
like a
Do
million
Disney.
different channels.
There's
on
a bunch
there.
of
It's like,
channels, but
they
the
segment
one
it from like DVC to like Must Do stuff.
But good for you for knowing that was my thing. The second we got in that hotel, that information channel
That was also
on.
my other one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and it was
back
on the
then.
whole trip. And then I even loved that one that was that weird like Disney D logo, and it was gold, and
music.
it would just spin, and it would
Yeah.
have like comets in the background, different color. I could watch that.
Well, I
hypnotically.
remember when we would go on trips and all the girls would be on the trips, and
Yeah.
you guys would all be getting ready, and it was always the Disney music
Radio
channel.
Disney.
Radio Disney would
Yes.
be playing. Shout out Radio Disney.
Yes,
Would be playing
Is that even still a thing?
because I heard more Radio Disney
Yes.
than anything because it took you guys like 6 hours to get ready. So I'm like,
that is
most of the
not
day was you guys going, oh, then I got to wear this, and then you all look the
Fun
same.
fact
You came
about
out.
Radio Disney: it was the only station where you could hear In Sync and then also hear that weird like hamster song that they would play. Yes, exactly. So it's a very wide range.
I
of
hope
kind of-
we don't get our video taken down because that was so close to the actual.
I know
song.
it was uncanny. It was very uncanny.
ridiculous.
But those are things, and I think it's important to have because, like little things that if you're somebody that goes regularly to kind of, I don't know if you could even call them full on traditions because it might be something that's just a your thing. Like for you, like a Dole Whip is always going to be your thing, and I know the majority of us love to ride the People Mover, so that could be. A must do, but I think must do's and traditions are kind of different. Like sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. I don't know. But People Mover for me is one that I feel for all of you who listen that are Disneylanders, because to me, I have to ride the People Mover, and I really do want to do Carousel of Progress also. So those are two things you guys used to have in Disneyland and don't have either of them. You gave us the Carousel of Progress, and then you lost your People Mover.
You bequeathed it.
I know. So I feel bad for you guys that you don't have either of those things.
Now, on the same kind of topic, saying must-dos and everything else, like, my must-do quick service. Like, I must go into
I think
Epcot.
every listener to this show should
You
know
should.
it.
And I expect everybody to go, hey, Josh, I brought you some orange chicken.
Yeah.
But I love going to Lotus Blossom. And I will say, I agree with, what was it, JVTV?
Yeah.
That it's gone a little bit. The serving sizes are smaller now, and it's a little less than it was before, but it's still a solid choice is Lotus Blossom.
Yes.
So
And Derek Huff agrees because that's where we saw him when we were there last time.
we did, and I didn't even know who he was. I just knew he was famous because he was with like 3 different handlers. And I said, "Who is that?" And
He
everybody's
seems so
like,
nice. I think we
"He's
mentioned
from-"
this on the podcast post trip. I think we mentioned.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's the guy from Dancing with the Stars." I said,
Yeah.
"Yes," because I look like a
Yeah.
huge Dancing with the Stars
He seemed
fan.
very, very sweet in person, so I appreciated that. You know what's interesting though on that topic, Josh? I see frequently on social people asking like, "What's your must-have Disney snack or Disney food?" And I obviously we know yours is Dole Whip and the orange chicken from. I don't know that I have a must-have Disney snack or Disney meal that I have while I'm there. I don't know. That
I
there's
feel like yours are in-room Tostito chips and salsa. I feel like because that's always from the
that
BBC
is not
angle.
a must. That is something that I do get, and obviously.
Oh wait, hold on. Let's go back. We said must do. So if
That's
you went
not
to
a
the
must.
store, so if we went to the store, let's say we went to Publix, and we were getting stuff because we were in a room had a kitchen. What would be in your cart? Would there ever be Tostitos, chips, and salsa?
Yes, and queso. I do
Yes,
love
there
that
you go.
as a
That's
good-
must do.
That's
There
not
you go.
anything related to
Yes,
Disney,
it
dummy.
doesn't matter.
No, I'm trying to think though, because back in the day,
Josh is right.
my answer would have been Disney popcorn. I loved
ding, ding.
the popcorn. It always smells better than it tastes, but popcorn was my go-to. Now I don't eat popcorn as much because I just feel like it's all
It just wrecks your
not good
stomach
for you.
anyway.
Yeah, it's not very good for you. But I'm trying to think. I like a Mickey pretzel. I preferred Mouseketeer bars over Mickey bars. I love a Dole Whip, but it's not a have to for me.
You know when I would eat like a Mickey bar was when they would do the after-hour events where they would include
Yeah,
sodas,
yeah.
popcorn, Mickey bars, and I'd just eat my weight in them.
Yes,
I'd be like this, I don't
exactly.
even want this. I bet sometimes I would
Yeah.
just get it, eat
Yeah.
one ear, and throw it away.
Right, but I'm not even like a Joffrey's
Just
donut.
to make back that huge price tag.
I'm not a Joffrey's donut like must have. So I'm trying to find
I tease.
I know people love the school bread or the carrot cake cookie.
Okay, first of all, the school bread, not great. Not great.
I know
Okay.
Peyton loves the pretzel from Baseline. I'm just trying
The
to think,
pretzel
like,
from Baseline is really good.
mine would probably be, as far as like a must, is usually me getting my cocktail from Baseline, which is whatever the soda on tap is.
It's like the
and vodka, like
alcoholics anthem.
that. But that's kind of like my because it's the whole experience. It's not like I would get that and then go leave. That might be, but I'm trying to think. Maybe I need to find.
I
a
wonder
good
how many
go-to
people listen
Disney
to this
snack.
podcast, well, in general, but that also are like, these guys are just ridiculous alcoholics.
But, but to be fair, I
we're
get
not.
you to-
Honestly, we
but
love to drink on vacation.
But
That's
I'm just
the thing.
saying, I don't even think, like our last trip, we didn't really drink that much. Like as we're getting older, we're just not. It's kind of more quality over
It
quantity.
was 9,000 degrees.
gonna
And
be
literally,
worse
I
next
would
time.
die. I'm not in the greatest
Yeah.
of shape. I was sweating profusely.
Because the Grand Marnier slushy used to be a must do for me every single trip. And I know some people love like the, what is it, the violet sake or even the violet lemonade. Like there's so many different, but for me, I really feel like I need to pinpoint a must have Disney. I'm not a turkey leg person. Like Missy loves the turkey
See,
legs.
that's
I'm not
the
a
one with
churro person. I know Tiffany likes the churros.
The
like,
turkey legs I
don't
can't get
dislike
behind.
I don't dislike churros. I don't dislike any of those things, but it's just right now I feel like guys help me. Guys, tell me what my must-do snack should be. And if it's something I haven't tried, let me know. Maybe on the next trip I'll try it out.
Gina has become too used to talking to people on her sprinkled thoughts thing that now she's just talking to people mid-podcast, but it's fine.
There's a box to comment.
Good Lord. I know when you lead in with guys, I'm like, I know what's coming. But no, I feel like the turkey leg thing for me, it's like you found like a wild dog sitting somewhere and
It
you
is.
found something to eat. Like when people are sitting down eating them, it looks like it's
Very
like,
caveman. It's very medieval. But I think that's
because
sometimes
nobody can eat that.
dropped a
Nope.
nerd in my lap.
I like we're now watching you eat gummy nerds. That's great.
Don't make any noise.
But I feel like it's weird. Like you're sitting there and nobody can eat that non-messy. And then the people get really into it. Oh, I found the good part of the turkey leg. No, stop. I just don't want to
What
watch
about the
people
people
to
that eat a
begin with.
banana on a stick somewhere? It's like a frozen banana. I'm like, nope, stay away.
How about those that can
Also-
eat it in one bite?
Also the corn. Like I'm not into like
bless
corn
me.
on a stick. So I gotta find a Disney snack, guys. I gotta find a snack that's my go-to. I do love though those blue raspberry freezies where it's like whipped. It's not like the icy.
Oh, no, where
it's like the
it's
whipped
frothy.
and
No,
fluffy.
yeah, it's
I
fluffy.
love those. Those are really good.
No, those are good.
So I don't know. We'll figure it out on the next trip.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
So we'll go into what this episode is, and this episode is Unpacking Animal Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Animal Kingdom, which historically, over time, like because the other parks had a little more to offer for like, rides, this, that, and the other, and maybe like some food options and stuff like that. People kind of like made a half-day park out of Animal Kingdom. And they're
Right.
like, oh,
Including
we'll go do
us.
Yeah, we do the safari and everything else, but you don't really realize until later now, especially over time, there's a lot to do. And not just with the opening of Avatar, like with Pandora, because you only really have 2 rides in there, and you got Satuli Canteen in there, which is solid, and you got the little walk-up bar kind of area, which is fine. And then, on the way in there, you get like Tiffin's and Nomad Lounge and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's things over by Everest, like we went to the bar there,
Yeah.
Thirsty River. And you're like, I thought it was Frosty River. But yeah, Thirsty River. So Thirsty
Your
River.
impression of me is uncanny.
We had that.
It's like
It is. It's
goofy.
dead on. But you got places that I love like to eat. Yak and Yeti's in there. I love
Right.
to eat at.
Yeah, I like
I
Yak
like to
and
go
Yeti.
into Nomad. Tiffin's is actually a good restaurant,
The bummer is that we're not going to be there in July because Tiffin's is one of the 40% off restaurants in
Well.
July. The July choices to me are better than the June choices for the VI pass holder summer discounts. There's different restaurants between
I'll
June
keep
and July.
that in mind because I might actually be there in July.
Yeah, because
might
you are
actually-
like Tiffin's is on there. And what was the other one that I saw that I was like, oh, that's another great option. I can't think what it was. But
I know
it was
right
in
now
there.
currently it's like Tusker House or something like that.
Right,
which isn't
Tusker
bad.
House.
But it's not
like,
during like the character part.
No.
Uh,
Boat rights. It's like ones
Yeah,
like
some of
that.
those
Hollywood
things.
vibe.
But again, like when you go around Animal Kingdom, you have the safari. You've got like the walking tours, like different animal stuff. There's a ton of things on there. It's a gigantic park. Plus, there's a lot of cool things you can do extras that are there. Like if you want to go behind the scenes of the safari,
Yeah.
you want to do like a little, I think they have like a little lunch thing or like a savannah kind of,
Yeah,
meal
that
thing.
actually looks like quite an experience. We were talking about that the other day, and price wise for what you get for that, and you can be it's 8 and up, so it's something Mozzie could do. That like little, but I don't want to be like all over the place like I tend to be. So streamlining why we feel. First of all, why do we feel like it was a half day park? First of all, it's the hours. It's like they don't have long hours there anymore, and even the
That's a
nighttime
problem.
show they tried to do there, they eliminated. We talked about that.
Rivers of Light.
Rivers of Light. Right.
I remembered
and
that.
then we talk about how it's so cool. So you have to go in the right time of year to be able to appreciate the way that Pandora looks
most
at
of the
night.
time it's
to
like
when it
5
gets-
or 6 o'clock when it like closes down.
Yeah.
And you don't have like that night kind of deal.
Right.
That's,
So I feel like that makes it half a day.
they
park
have
for a
done
lot of
after
people.
hours things where they've stayed open late.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
But you remember this thing it's gigantic park. I'm like, it's 500 plus acres of space there. The safari takes up a good deal of it, obviously.
of course.
But like walking the park, but it's also hotter because of the plant life in there. And there's a lot of stuff that makes that park a little bit, few more degrees than it really is.
It
in
does
general.
also, we talked about on the previous podcast, it's a little harder to navigate if you don't know your way because everything does kind of look the same.
Oh, everything looks
There's
exactly
not the
the same.
differential of different IPs that stand out. It's not the differential of like in Magic Kingdom where it's like this land, this land, this land. It's kind of like Africa, Asia, yes, but it's all plant life. It's all cement. It's all little markets.
It's the modern day Communicore. Like when you go left and you're
Which
like, I should have went right. Darn it. And like you try to go to Everest or
Yes.
something like that. You're like, now is that Asia? And you're like, I think so. And then you go around. I'm like, oh.
Now, with the losing Dino Land USA, I don't know that a small child would enjoy Animal Kingdom for a full day, though. That's my one thing. I can bank on the fact that if you're adults, you can enjoy that park all day long. It's got great lounges and bars, and I would wager
That's a chill. That's the thing is, I think that's the number one thing right now, why you can stay in there so long, because it's a chill park.
it's chill, and it's got the best food, I think. I think it's got the best theme park food of any of and I mean
Probably.
like walk up quick serve. I think it's just got the best food. It's definitely
Outside
got the
of
best
food
bars.
and wine. Outside of food and wine, when they really get a good year where they've got some good options there.
Yeah.
Now they've had some real turds over the years. Let's put it that way. Like there's been ones like when they got rid of like Italy is so historically bad now. Like it is, and I love it. I got my Italian heritage, everything else. I used to love it when
Really?
Italy had it food and wine. When they had the pizza slices there, it was still the best theme park pizza that you could get quickly and not without going to Viennapoli. But it was good. It was like square, but it was like cut like on an angle kind of thing. So it wasn't a true like pizza slice, but it was like 2 pieces in a little order.
Yeah.
Those were really good. And then it's not terrible, but it's the options aren't great. Like you could do better. Like
Yeah.
you could definitely do better on that one.
Yeah.
So that I'm not really thrilled with, but I agree with you. Animal Kingdom, there's food options in there from Flame Tree Barbecue. There's stuff in there that's actually
I mean, there's
pretty
some
decent.
stinkers there too. Like, don't get me
Well,
wrong. Some of the
Satuli
quick
Canteen
serve-
is great. It's a sleeper when you get the
Satuli's
bowls.
Great, for sure.
Yeah, and then you can sit and have drinks in Nomad. You can get like bread service in there. You can get actually little like finger food kind of stuff.
Yep.
You could also get the churros that are there that you guys raved about. I'm not a big churro person. My wife absolutely loves them. She is a churro connoisseur apparently, which my side story, my favorite memory of Tiffany, we went to do Not So Scary Halloween. Okay, so I'm going to tell all the people this. All the people at person.
Both of you.
We go to do Not So Scary Halloween.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's not a cheap event to do. Okay, whether it's going to cost you $100 or towards $200 per person to get in this, and we get a discount from like annual pass or DVC or whatever it came down to it. We're going to go. But the reason we're going is because my wife wants this Maleficent churro she had the last time. She remembers it. She remembers the cart right to the left of the castle that's sitting there on the right before you get into Liberty Square. She knows where this is. She's like, going back and I'm getting this churro. I think they have it again. We're looking at menus and we're like, okay, they got a churro and it kind of looks like it. It's a churro. That's all I got to say. It was a churro. And it's got like Oreos, cookie cream. I have no idea what it is. So we wait in the line because the line really there is to get popcorn buckets. So you have to wade through the popcorn bucket army of everybody who's going to be shouldering about 7 or 8 popcorn buckets. So
Plus, they do have special treats at the after hours in general.
Yes, and that's what it is.
It's
It's a signature snack.
not available during the day.
Yeah, so signature snack. And so my wife she's all hyped up. She gets it. We get in line. She takes a bite of this and she just looks at me and I'm like, this is not going to be good. this is not a good sign. She didn't go, that's an international sign for this tastes good. There was more like a, like choking back from vomiting. And she goes, try this. And I
After
swear,
that build up, I bet you were dying to.
I was like, yeah, after your rave review. So I get it. And I taste it, and it tastes like cardboard. Like, I mean, literally, it tastes like the box it probably came in. Yeah. And I go, oh my God. And we waited all that time for it. And I felt so bad because really, she's like, let's leave. It's like, we hadn't done anything.
It made me want to leave the beach.
Yeah, it did. It made me want to leave the park. But I'm like, we hadn't done anything yet. Like, and we're sitting there, I'm like, that's literally, it was worth it to me because I'm like, it's the only reason I wanted to be there. It's just to make sure she got this. She does a lot for us. God love her. And her face, I was like, oh, that sucks.
That is
I just felt so bad for her. So, things happen. That's basically the moral of the story anyway. But that's my tangent about the churros in Magic Kingdom. But yeah, I don't even know if we stayed. I think we may have left.
Yeah. Why did we even start? Oh, because we were talking about the churros at Nomad. Because I was like, how did we get over to Magic Kingdom? Like, that's how our brains work. But
nothing makes sense when I'm involved, so don't think much.
Talking about, like we said, the dining over there, I think, is of note. Because to be fair, like, speaking of Magic Kingdom, I don't feel like Magic Kingdom, I feel like I'd rank that the lowest on dining options of all of the parks. So Animal Kingdom, I feel like, is
like the Plaza. Oh.
I think it's very top notch. The Animal Kingdom has a lot of great options. I mean, honestly, people may laugh at this, but I know you agree. It's like even the Rainforest Cafe there, you can get a really decent
It's
meal.
a Landry's restaurant.
I know, but
shout
it's
out
like,
to Landry Select members. I'm telling you.
So
don't sleep on that. That's why Yak and Yeti is so good.
Yeah, Yak and Yeti is great. I actually haven't dined at Tiffin's, but I would like to. I've only ever done Nomad Lounge over there because we're usually not committing to a sit down like that.
It's been a long time since I've been to Tiffin's.
I do Satuli Canteen because I really do love that as far as the quick service over there.
A lot of options over there.
Yeah, I'm not a big like pizza-fari person. Flame Tree Barbecue, you know me. I'm not a barbecue person.
Gina hates barbecue because she's not American.
It's not that I hate it.
A salute to all foods, but mostly not barbecue.
If it's served and I have no other choice, I'll eat it, but it's just not high on my list. It's very low, not top 10 dining experiences that I want. I'd sooner eat all the
I'm going to change
sides.
your mind.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna hook some barbecue up.
I like barbecue sauce. I like barbecue flavor. It's just when everyone's like, ooh, pulled pork. Oh, this. It just doesn't.
That's what I was going to offer.
It doesn't sound. We're originally from Maryland. We're big Orioles fans.
Pulled pork. Not the one.
Boog's Barbecue at the ballpark. Everybody loves that. And I have to load it.
That sucks.
Stop it. I have to load it with things. I have to load it with like barbecue sauce and horseradish and like whatever else. So it's fine. It is.
Well, I just got a new smoker. So whenever I make
try
my
it.
next
I loved
thing,
what Chris made at Kirby Derby. Or was it Kirby Derby? Yeah, this past year. That was really good. Okay. But anyway, so we've talked dining. Now, attraction-wise, yes, obviously you have Everest if you're looking for a thrill ride. Kali River Rapids, I guess that falls kind of in the thrill ride category. You're not going to take a newborn baby on that, obviously. I don't like walking around the park soaking wet, so that's kind of why I avoid that most times.
Nobody wants swamp butt.
Yeah, and I also just feel like
the worst. Okay, real quick, worst part to be wet on, like when you're in a theme park, and I will say it's your socks and your shoes. That is the worst. And I've had that the last time I went somewhere and I'm like, oh God, I like that. I just can't take it. I'm like, I don't need a wet sock and a wet shoe. That is like recipe for disaster. I'm like, I'm going to lose a toe or something like that to gangrene.
Yikes. But I really think, to be fair, I've only ever ridden Kali River Rapids once, and I think that was like
fun. Let's do it
decades
next
ago.
Time. Let's do it.
I mean, all right. But I feel like I was also offended because I got on, I want to say, with maybe you and Sean and Danny, and they told us that the heavier side of the boat would be what got wet, and then Danny and I were the ones that got soaking wet, and I felt highly offended by that ride for the rest of the time. The guys on the boat didn't get as wet, the girls, and I was like, either that.
No, it's weird. Like
mean.
when I was younger, it took me a while to realize I was fat, and it's stuff like that. No, I'm just kidding. You're not. You're great.
Anyway.
Danny was.
Stop. Anyway. So you've got Everest, you've got Kali River Rapids. Obviously, you've got Pandora. And I know Navi River Journey gets a lot of hate because people say...
It's a cute ride,
I
though,
like
but
it.
it's
I
chill,
agree
and the colors
it should
are great.
be. longer. People would love it more if it was longer because it is a very relaxing ride. It's very beautiful. Flight of Passage obviously is an awesome attraction. But the safari, we talked about it. When you really want to talk what's the most immersive ride in all the Walt Disney World property, it would have to be the safari. Because you cannot convince me when you're rolling through there, you're just like, yeah, this feels like I'm in Florida. Like, it really does transport you and make you feel like you are on some kind of safari elsewhere.
No, yeah, you don't feel like you're anywhere
So
close
that
to
alone is a must do. And I don't know why you'd go to Animal Kingdom and not do the safari. That's like the highlight attraction.
Well, I feel like that was the reason everybody went there to begin with. I'm like, that was the number one. Like, I don't mind Everest. I'm like, as I get older,
I can't do it.
I used to love roller coasters. And if anybody saw me trying to live stream that thing on Instagram,
it's still available on our Instagram if you want to go watch it.
It's so awful because I'm like, I was surprised I held my phone. I didn't realize it was that like bouncy.
Jerky. Yeah, I didn't realize either. And I held my neck the whole time because of my neck problems.
That's probably the worst part. Usually when you try to stay rigid, it hurts worse. But
I wasn't rigid. I was just supporting it. Like I wanted it to not be like da 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 da. I just held my hands there, but I wasn't like stiff. But it just was like, yeah, no. I don't think.
Things happen.
Yeah.
But no, I would go over to Animal Kingdom basically just to chill and walk around now. Like, it's, to me, that to be seen when they expand it, because, you know, Indiana Jones, everything else is going to bring even more to that park. And that might actually end up going to people's preference, where they're like, oh, we want to go over and do Avatar. We want to go do Indiana Jones. We want to do the new...
Because they're expanding Avatar, right? They said that they expect to have, like, a couple more attractions eventually there, right?
And I don't know, to be honest. I know they're expanding different places. There's an Avatar.
I know, but
thing,
I feel like the
West
idea
Coast
is that at
getting one.
least one more attraction is supposed to be. They do plan on, as far as I know, fact check us. We don't know anything. Like, we just... Here's
the thing I just made up.
I just make it up. I mean, like, I don't know. But I feel like I heard that somewhere. But... I was going to say, even when we just went, now granted, we didn't get there like rope drop or anything, but just when we were there last month, I feel like we ran out of time there. Like we didn't get to do the Rafiki's Planet Watch, and I really wanted to do that. I've never done that, actually. Take the little train over to the conservation station. I would love to do that. Never done it. I did like that we got to do both of the walking trails because you have to get to those before they close, because sometimes they close those off early. Everest
Perla
was done.
Falls and Maharaja Jungle Trek.
Yes, exactly. Love doing the safari. We did both attractions in Pandora. Like I said, we did Everest. I'm trying to think what other we didn't do, obviously Kali River, but we didn't do any of the shows. And the shows at Animal Kingdom are so fantastic. Legend of the Lion King. Love the Finding Nemo one.
I thought it was Festival of the Lion King.
What'd I say? That's what I meant. Yeah. Facts,
Wait a minute.
Facts.
Wait a minute. Did I just get one right? Up. Yay!
Congrats.
And Gina was wrong.
Take a screenshot.
Savor this moment forever.
Savor it, Spaceship Earth. Anyway, but I will say those shows. I love the Finding Nemo show there. Love it.
Oh,
we
that's
talked
great.
about that
That's
before.
one of the best live.
It's so
it gives
good.
me.
We didn't see it this past time because we ran out of time.
It gives me like you and I could both 100% agree that the best live show was Hunchback of Notre Dame when it was at
Hands
Hollywood
down.
Studios. It was the best live production show. It was just like everything, the way the actors got into it and everything.
Immersive.
It was wonderful. I always loved that.
The songs just.
But Finding Nemo, the musical adventure, it's a great one. I think the
songs are so good in it. And if you got a good crush, if you've got a good Dory, a good, Marlin, I mean, like they're going to sell that. Those three characters are really going to make that show. And they always do. I've never been disappointed by anybody who's ever been cast in it.
I always get those songs stuck in my head.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's also like, here's the other thing, and I mentioned because it still fits in the timing of, with Muppet Vision closing and everything else too, that we've also discussed. It's when I was going through social media feeds and I was like, oh, for the first hour, you're like, oh man, Muppets is closing. And then it sets in that you're like, man, I can't stand hearing the Rainbow Connection. Because it's every other reel.
It was. And
like,
there was another song that people... Right. There was another song that people used a lot too. It was another song that was used a lot. But I think that's another reason maybe why our image did so well was because I used a song that nobody else was using.
Gina posted that image of TikTok and it just went virus.
Yeah,
but so I mean that's pretty cool. But anyway, so...
But the Tarzan show that was there, like that was a great show. You know what I mean? Like they really do a phenomenal. I miss the.
It's amazing how many things we forget were places.
And wasn't it the band that was like right outside? What was like a Junkanoo type band? What were they called? The guys that were out there, the African band that would like.
Oh, they still have them, I think,
because they had gotten rid of them at one point. I don't know if it was like COVID.
I think
time,
the last time I saw them,
people really were upset. I thought they had.
They were right outside the bathroom.
Yeah, that they do the ones with little characters come out. There's so many things that you don't even realize are at Animal Kingdom. So our advice to you is like,
well, they
give
had
it
the
a full
one
day.
under. They had the one under by the Tusker House right there or whatever.
Yeah.
They had the one undercover that they would go through and do like little dance stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had the one playing outside the bathroom.
Yeah.
Which,
that's the one where the characters.
That could have been,
out.
you know what? That could have been the band saying, you know what? We're tired of playing outside the toilet, guys. Can you get us like a stage or have somebody get some Febreze? Because it smells like the safari. That's what
But I do think if you go to Animal Kingdom and you choose to pace yourself, it's definitely going to be a full day park, and then you enjoy it more. I think that the people that get there and are trying to like race around and get everything done, and again, as a mother of an 8-year-old and a woman that frequently takes her mildly disabled mother with her, I understand the idea that sometimes leisurely is a good thing because you're like, I don't want to rush with them, but then sometimes it's not because it's not what's working for them in the heat.
I agree
know what
with
I mean?
you
Like
as
the
an
heat.
elderly woman trying to get around the parks. It's tough. You know, it's hot.
The heat can be the big factor because, like you were saying, it's a hotter park.
Well, it was
there.
easy for mom to get around the parks. I was wheeling her everywhere. I was like, that's the other thing. When mom would get surly about stuff like, I don't want to go over here and go, what do you got to complain about? You just got to sit. You're sitting everywhere. You just close your eyes. You'll be there.
Speaking of Muppets, Mom's moving right along.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So I would say that I understand when people are saying like, oh, it's a half day park. I'm embarrassed to say there was a time, and it was definitely the time of MGM when that was better, where if we would skip Animal Kingdom on some trips. We were like, oh, got to do Epcot twice, got to do MGM twice, got to do Magic Kingdom twice. And then
You're like, oh, Animal Kingdom? I'll get you next time.
We'd skip it. And we'd be like, yeah, that's all right. And then obviously that was pre-Pandora.
And still, Dinosaur's a solid ride.
It is.
Like, that's a
And
very
that's
solid
be a sad
ride.
one, I know, for people to lose. But again, nothing's going to compare to the emotion of losing Muppet Vision. Like, I don't know that there'll ever be. Hopefully, there's not in our.
Do you mean there won't be a little vigil outside of Dinosaur? Everybody singing songs about everybody walk the dinosaur outside.
They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. That's not our dino.
We're like, open the door, get on the floor, everybody.
Yes.
We want the dinosaur.
That ride does hold so many great. Remember, it was called Countdown to Extinction.
Yeah, it was Countdown to Extinction. And then Disney put out a dinosaur movie. Like, we're going to name this dinosaur. I'm like, I liked it better as Countdown to Extinction.
It did also make so much sense because remember how, like, when they'd show the Iguanodon, it looked so, like, cartoony and not realistic. And it was like, why are they showing us this, like, cartoony looking dinosaur? And then you realized, oh, it was the one from the upcoming movie once they, like, renamed it.
So I have an idea for our next image for when Dinosaur closes.
I can't wait.
It's going to be, I'm going to tell you this. Nobody steal this, but it's going to be great.
Don't bother because this is not going to be posted for 2 weeks, and Josh is going to already have the image done by the time we get off of this podcast.
But you know who's in there? What celebrity is in Dinosaur?
Felicia Rashad.
Yes. So it's with the quotes, bye, Felicia.
Please, Deep Park Chuckle, please make a shirt that says that.
Bye, Felicia.
That would be amazing. Have her image from Countdown to Extinction / Dinosaur.
Just
like,
in
bye,
time
Felicia.
to correct a little
Oh
misstatement.
my God. Why did I think you were going to go somewhere down the Cosby route? I was like, Countdown to Incarceration.
Oh no, Bill Cosby. Wow, it got dark quick. Ladies and gentlemen, put props and the thing is going to close down the Countdown to Extinction.
That's totally where I thought you were going with that. Ow, Rudy.
Good old Bill Cosby. We gotta get him go sleep before it starts to creep.
Oh my God. Stop
Anyway,
crying.
TV 14, everyone. TV
I'm
14. Make
crying.
sure you have
Stop.
your parents' permission before watching said
Oh
show.
my God.
Sorry about that. Okay.
I'm crying.
At any rate.
Okay. I don't know why that's where I thought you were going with that shirt, but that's a great idea for a shirt because we've talked about this. I mentioned on the podcast my favorite shirt I ever saw was an Animal Kingdom shirt that said Quaharini Felicia. And I was like, that's a very, if you know, you know. Just like when back in the day when small shop people started.
And if you can read this t-shirt, thanks Phoenician.
Exactly. I was going to say that was a small shop idea and then Disney ripped it off. But that was a very, if you know, you know. If you wear it in Disney, people know what it means. If you wear it outside of Disney, people are not going to understand that. So Quaharini Felicia, I think a lot of people maybe even walk by that not realizing how hilarious that shirt was.
Oh my
but
goodness.
I love that. So let me ask you this, Josh.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a little favorites of Animal Kingdom. So I know your favorite attraction.
I'm just laughing because you still have tear marks down your face.
I'm crying. I'm like,
just a big old shiny.
where's my makeup?
If somebody came out and be like,
Makeup!
what?
Somebody powder this girl. Oh my God, what if I like
goodness.
literally sit here and I'm like
You're
for
fine.
the YouTube crowd? For those on Spotify, I'm powdering my tear marks on my face.
At least it's a little thing it's meant for that. You didn't pull like an old pair of underwear out of there and be like,
What
oh.
are you talking about?
I don't know how
Have you
girls' purses
seen
work.
this done?
I don't know what kind of Mary Poppins carpet bag you have over there. You're
Oh my
pulling
God.
stuff out of.
You are a weirdo. Anyway, so I know your favorite attraction at Animal Kingdom.
I'm actually Perry weirdo right now because it's before my weirdo sets in. Go ahead.
Anyway, is Flight of Passage. Okay, I know that's your favorite attraction at
It's weird because you know what about it? I love Avatar the movie. And 3D I love, but it also makes me sick.
Yeah.
So I have to like talk myself into it. Every time I'm in line, I'm like, all right, Josh, you're not going to get sick. You're going to love it. And I breathe. If you ever look over at me, which is ruin the magic thing, you look over next to you like, oh, this sucks because you see everybody like with some goon look on their face and, just kind of sitting in their little banshee little bicycle thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't get sick. Don't get sick. But I'm like breathing like, trying to get myself going because I'm like, I'll get motion sickness on there. And it happens a good amount of time. But I've learned now, take some Dramamine. Pro tip, take some Dramamine like about a half hour or more before you get on the ride.
It has
Make
air,
sure you don't
which is
do that
helpful.
right after you eat.
It is helpful because the air, but I will say I think the hardest part of that ride is where your banshee's going upside down. Even though you're not physically, the perspective of it makes it look like your banshee's going upside down. That I think is the part that really triggers the motion sickness for me.
So I like the smells and all. And my favorite part of that is going towards the water when you go up under the wave and everything. That's like...
I love it all. I love it all. But I will say my favorite attraction there, though, I will still give to the safari just because it's not always the same. They don't even always take you on the same route.
Seems
every
like a
single
basic
time.
answer to me.
I do love it. I think it's so exciting to see animals like that up close.
You know what I love? The people that get all bent because when you ever get on a bad safari where they have to kind of coax some animals out because you go in there like it's like Jeff Goldblum and like Jurassic Park. You are planning on having dinosaurs in your dinosaur tour, right? Yeah. Because like nobody comes out. You're like, and it's always, and how good is the eyesight of these safari drivers? I will tell you right now, because this guy's looking up in his rear view, so you're not doing anything, and then all of a sudden he's like, by the way, there's a cheetah 3 clicks to the left over here. You can see him. He's hiding behind that branch. You know, the one 8,000 feet away. You're like,
shout
how
out
did
to
you
our
see
Micro
him?
Machines driver last time.
Yeah, remember 1 draft, 2 draft, and 3 draft 4. All right. That guy was ridiculous. You think Gina talks fast. That guy gave her a run for her money.
He did. He really did. I struggled to understand him.
No, but that's the thing. Like, they can see that stuff. And I'm still looking as we're going past. And I'm like, oh, great. I didn't see it. And they're like, no, that was its ear.
But speaking of replacements, so not only do we have Dinosaur being replaced and the entire land being replaced because you got the Encanto stuff coming in and Zootopia is coming into because you got Bug's Life. I mean,
Zootopia is the Bug's Life.
Tough to be a Bug is leaving. So that's bringing Zootopia in.
See, it's Animal Kingdom. To me, making a land like they have like overseas for Zootopia would have made more sense in Animal Kingdom than in Kanto.
Yeah.
So if you have that stuff, I'm like, I feel like there's a disjointedness of knowing what your park stuff. Putting Kanto in Epcot, put it in somewhere else, or put it into like Magic Kingdom somewhere.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that can make Encanto really fit in Animal Kingdom is if they play up on the kid who can talk to animals. You know what I mean?
I guess that's the reason. See, there's it. I know
if
that.
they like play up on him, but he's not like the main character, so I don't know. But
so he's like the crocodile hunter. That's what you're telling me.
If they play up on his part, but just even like what are they putting a carousel over there? It looked like what's the other sections going there? I guess like what are they calling like the area where Indiana Jones is going.
Mistake.
Now, here's another thing. Here's another thing I'm worried about. Because I know the track of Dinosaur / Countdown to Extinction. Okay, I know the track of that, and I have been on Indiana Jones in Disneyland.
Oh, you think it's just going to be skinned?
I think it's going to be skinned because there are parts in Indiana Jones where you can see other cars, and there's those big, giant rooms that I think is what makes you feel. When I got off that ride, I remember going, I felt like I was in that movie. Like, it felt so immersive. You felt like you were in it.
I feel like they're not going to repurpose so much dinosaur as they're going to go and rebuild.
You think so?
Because
I hear people say the reason they picked it is because it is the same ride vehicle.
It could be. But like I've said, they'll make it different. You can start with an existing structure.
I'm not here for the plops, Josh. You know, I'm not here for the plops.
What I'm saying is, the only thing I'll tell you right now is they took a huge write-off and loss with the Halcyon, okay, with the Galaxy Star Cruiser. They took a huge loss of that. That thing cost a fortune to build, and it's doing nothing. It's like offices or whatever they're using it for, but it's...
Hear me out.
About that.
Hear me out.
Star Wars Hotel?
Hear me out. Muppets in Outer Space, Pigs in Space Hotel. Convert the Galactic Star Cruiser
We've
to
moved
a
them
Muppet
to the
Hotel. A Muppet Hotel, Pigs in Space, all of it. Muppets go to space. Like, that is a great idea. I would totally stay at a Muppet Hotel.
It's a genius move.
Yes, exactly. Confetti. You know, ever since I saw that effect, I want to do that all the time.
Yeah, well,
but I know it's not as easy to just click on there and do that. But so my point is that is my one nerves about the Indiana Jones like replacement of Dinosaur.
I think with that, it's just
really
impossible to get them to put certain things in. It's got to be redone anyway. Like the Indiana Jones stuff's got to be redone.
Yeah, I hope so.
But I understand the concern.
Yeah. So what is that area going to be called then?
I don't know. I told you. Like,
I know.
Oops.
I feel like it has to have been labeled because it was part of Dino Land. And then now Dino Land's no more, and then Kanto will be going
something
over
like
there.
America or something like that. I want to say something like.
Yeah, but Indiana Jones, does that even fit in that?
I want to say it's something about America.
I feel like it is too. Look it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is, guys. Remember, we are proud to admit we do very little research or preparation for any of these podcasts because our brand is really Gina and Josh just talking.
It's a Tropical Americas is what it's called.
Indiana Jones does not fit in that. Tropical Americas.
Yes, it will do the Encanto and Indiana Jones. So nothing says Tropical America like Indiana Jones. Who,
Indiana Jones,
from my knowledge, didn't visit the tropics once.
Right, maybe he's going to the Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So I don't know. But anyway, back to what we were talking about as far as all of those things are concerned. So that replacement, and then seeing, I'm not mourning the loss of It's Tough to Be a Bug just because I don't like things that mess with my mind per se. And I remember the time I went in there, Luke was a baby.
Like, let all the bugs exit the theater.
The second that show started, because I had heard rumblings of what it was going to do, I jumped up the second Luke made a noise and ran out of the theater with him. And I was like, oh, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Let me take him out. But I do like, looking back, there was some cute things about that show.
Hornets, arm your stingers. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, all right.
But, yeah. Because remember, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. I remember the playset adventure. That was the other thing that I liked in Hollywood Studio in the backlot. I
mentioned in was it a video? I think it might have been on our stories where I was talking about, hear me out. If there was a whole Muppets Land, because I got tons of ideas, a Honey, I Shrunk the like kids play set, but it's Muppet Babies, and you feel like it's like a big like nursery playroom, Muppet Babies playroom. And
I feel like that would just harken into those weirdos that pretend they're big babies, and then all of a sudden it's like Disney's been overrun with these fools. Sorry, I don't kink shame people, but come on now.
Yes.
If you're 800 pounds wearing a diaper and you're not a sumo wrestler, no, stop it.
Yeah. Hear me out. Anyway. Retheme Tower of Terror to Muppets, and
you will take any opportunity you can to retheme Tower of Terror so it doesn't frighten you. Gina doesn't like anything scary.
That's a fair point.
Because you're like, Haunted Mansion, hear me out. Muppets Restaurant.
Okay. Like, Gina doesn't like scary. Gina doesn't like dark. She doesn't like things that mess with her mind. I am a big baby when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't mind thrills. I've been on the Kraken and SeaWorld where it feels like you're falling off the side of a building. I'll go on things that go upside down. I don't mind that. I don't like things that mess with my mind and freak me out. Perfect example. Disney World just posted a thing. I reposted it today. which is now 2 weeks later, but it was an image of like Tower of Terror rows, and it was different characters, and it said, where would your seat be? And it was like seat 1 was back row, empty. Then it was Chip. Then it was
outside
an empty
waiting.
Seat. Then it was an empty seat. Then it was Dale. All these things. And I hedged between the seat that's just next to Chip so I can have Chip to myself in my mind. But then I thought, no, whoever sits on the other side of him is going to be back. Then I also realized I'd be on the side. I do not like being against the walls in Tower of Terror because I'm like, something's going to touch me. Like, it freaks me out.
That's like when I used to swim at night and convince there was a shark in my pool.
I'm
It
still
was
convinced
jet
there's
black
sharks
out
in
there.
swimming pools. You don't know. We found a turtle once.
Yes, turtle or shark. Same thing. Yeah.
Snakes, turtles, frogs, sharks.
Because
You don't
sharks have been known to crawl
To
across
migrate.
the land and fall
know.
in your pool.
You don't know.
Someone's been drinking too much land shark beer.
Yeah, right.
Thinking that's a thing.
Yes, but as we like to do, we've been gone completely off
Okay,
topic
so here, let's go back to Animal Kingdom. And let's just say
Let's.
they have little sub shows and everything else, like little bird shows, which Danielle, our sister, is terrified of because she hates birds, which we always try to get her around as many birds as we
I
can.
do think, though, when you go to Animal Kingdom, you are cheating yourself if you don't really pay attention to the amount of work, especially Joe Rohde, put into going to all these different places. Really,
the theming and all, yeah.
details of every little thing. And I feel like I want people to appreciate those things so Disney will keep doing them.
Did you realize that when you go over, before you get to Everest and you're entering into that Asia section right there, where you have then you have that little model of like the, we have that little structure over the water where it looks, but it actually lines up perfectly with the mountain to Everest.
I
Have you ever
don't think
looked
I've
at that?
noticed it.
Yeah. So if you go up to it and it's like the Tibetan kind of looking thing, but it's like you go up and if you go and lean down, it exactly traces Kilimanjaro.
Those kind of
Like-
details are so stunning.
Or
Everything
not
that
Kilimanjaro,
they
I mean
did.
Everest, sorry.
If you've seen Avatar, which I think a lot of people have gone to Pandora and have never even seen the movie, I think you will appreciate Avatar or appreciate Pandora more if you've seen Avatar. You can still enjoy it.
I think
the area.
that's the other thing we were talking about with the nightlife stuff.
Yeah.
That
It's
place
so
is gorgeous
pretty
at night with the bioluminescent stuff and like
Yeah.
the ground, everything. And it doesn't get dark enough for you to
So
appreciate
you have to
that.
go in that time of year when it gets dark at like 4:00 and then you can see it.
And you can actually go around because
The
it is
sounds,
stunning.
they put so much effort. Something that I want to give a shout out to, pre our actual shout outs, that I think a lot of people don't take note of is Disney landscaping, plants. When you go to a place and you think all this area I'm walking used to be swampland,
Yeah.
and the amount of plants, especially Animal Kingdom, that have been placed everywhere. Like it's not like they're just putting a plant and a little bit of mulch around it. Like these are just the amount of money that Disney must have spent on
Well,
that
it's like
kind of stuff for
structuring
Animal
those like
Kingdom. It's
baobab
crazy.
trees and everything else.
It's
and-
crazy.
Yeah.
Like everywhere. Like the amount. That's something I think that gets overlooked by a lot of people, but it's a very important part of the theming.
the termite mounds and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff they were doing, basically constructing those. so
Right.
that
Beyond
elephants
even
have
just the
something.
safari, though. Just when you're in line for a plate, like something, or walking by, there's so many plants, and they're so specific. They're so specific. They say that was a reason why there wasn't a lot of tree shade in Toy Story at Hollywood Studios, because they were trying to create this image that you were, or this illusion that you were the size of a toy, and they couldn't find any like trees that would fit that look. So that's why they ended up doing all those little paper umbrellas to give people
Yeah.
shade, because they were like, we can't put trees over here. It won't work with the illusion of it. You know,
Yeah.
there was nothing that would fit that size wise, you know, but that's something, take note next time you're in Disney, just look around and pay attention to how many plants were all put there intentionally. This is not like, oh, and Disney was like, these were all here, blah, blah, blah. No, everything was put there. And the amount of them is staggering, especially.
You know
in
what I
Animal
miss though? So this is completely away from what you were talking
I
about.
love it. I love it. That's how we roll.
I miss when McDonald's had food in the parks.
Yeah.
So it was
Which
mainly
is so
chicken
wild
nuggets.
that we would mention-
It was chicken nuggets and French fries, basically.
fries
French fries
always
you could get in
smelled
Magic
so
Kingdom right over by
good.
Pecos Bills, and in
And
Dino
Anna-
Land you could get McDonald's chicken nuggets, and you could get like that. And I'm like, that's a thing I like from McDonald's is the chicken nuggets. It's
And
basically
I love the fries.
whatever it is, but. That was something you get. I'm like, why did that have to stop? Because then they put in other stuff. You're like,
Sponsorships.
and it's
all
gross. And there was some
deals.
gross stuff. And
Yeah, it is sad.
They have a lot of great little carts around there that have different specialty snacks, though, in Animal Kingdom.
It is
There's a
sad
good
to
amount of them.
lose Dino Land, though, because that was a fun little kid section of the park. And
Well,
we
like
talked about, like, Mozzie loved Triceratops Spin. He never got to ride Primeval Whirl, which I did.
They already ripped all that stuff
love.
already. It's been
I
going,
know,
yeah.
but I'm saying he never got to ride that. And so that's kind of a bummer to have lost that, because that little carnival like vibe of it was very cute. I also, one thing I really do love, and maybe that's something if we ever actually do research before a podcast, a great topic is like what was supposed to be. I love videos like that. I love times people are talking about like, this is what was supposed to be. And I just posted about that video that B-Mode did about what Muppets like land was supposed to be at Hollywood or /MGM. And there was supposed to be like a Muppet movie ride. And that was supposed to be part of the package. Like it really was supposed to be more than just Muppet Vision there as far as attraction wise. And it's like that would still so fit so well in with Hollywood Studios because we lost great movie rides. So you could replace it with something like a Muppet movie ride. That would be really fun. But I love hearing what the original ideas were and why sometimes you go, oh, like I just told you about on the last episode about why they have the Fairy Tale Hall at Fantasyland. It's like, oh, why would we take this ride out for that? Well, there was a reasoning behind it. There was, or the biggest thing about Animal Kingdom, Beastly Kingdom. Why? And someone is just saying, oh my God, it's so crazy because they have the beast on there in the front when you're coming up, like the beastly looking dragon. And they have a dinosaur. They go, so now the middle one's the only one that makes any sense because there's not going to be dinosaurs there and there's not any beasts there. So that's kind of
We have
funny.
a lot of fun with the Animal Kingdom sign.
Oh, everyone does. Everyone. You know what's another interesting thing about Animal Kingdom? I was thinking about when you were talking about your lemonade with the Skittles in it. And that's, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, the only park where you can really enjoy stuff without going in, because you can enter Rainforest Cafe with no admission, because in order to get out the other side that
And
connects,
sneak into Animal Kingdom.
no, you have to go through the turnstile, obviously. But people always say if there's a long
But they're
line,
a little laxed over there. You can probably get right in.
if there's a long line, people say cheat and go through there, go through the gift shop of Rainforest Cafe, and then
There's
you can
never a long line to get in Animal Kingdom.
We go on the off season, Josh. You know.
I'm just telling you,
We also don't go when it opens. But anyway, my point was
it's a single
you being
turnstile.
able
Can't
to
be
go
that
up,
quick.
you being able to go up to that little Joffrey's cart and get your drink and go into Rainforest Cafe all before you ever even enter through the turnstile.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Like Magic Kingdom has, I don't think there's anything you can experience outside of the turnstile there. I don't think
security.
Epcot has anything you can do before that.
Oh, they have a
Hollywood
Joffrey's
Studios,
outside. They have a Joffrey's outside of the
Outside the turnstile?
yeah, outside the turnstile. As you go out the exit, there's a Joffrey's right there. It's a little refreshment port.
Oh, okay. By the monorail station. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's just an interesting thing about Animal Kingdom. Now, I will say, where I think is unfortunate is because we've both stayed at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it's a beautiful hotel. I think that I would wager say some of the best dining on Disney property are the restaurants at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Sanaa, Jico, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Boma. The unfortunate part is staying there gets you no benefit to the actual park. And I get everything that Animal Kingdom has laid out is based around the security of the animals, the safety, but it's kind of wild that your hotel has a savannah right there butting up to the hotel, but there's no walking path. Even if it was a 20-minute walk, like the way it is to walk from Boardwalk to Hollywood Studios, it's kind of wild to me that there's no access point to go from Animal Kingdom Lodge to Animal Kingdom. That's
there's
something that I think
and
is
it's like the
interesting.
Savannah view rooms is like takes forever to get to.
Yeah.
Like I always end up getting the one I told you we've gone through this
Yes.
discussion like
Yes.
800 miles away. But it's nice. I mean,
You should have pulled out your phone. This is a throwback to those of you who've listened
the
to the previous
callbacks
episode.
on these are great. I love it.
Yes, where I told Josh something and then turned out he had just said that and I wasn't listening. You know, it's hard. It's just two of us in here talking. But on that note, Josh, it is wild to me because Animal Kingdom Lodge has the absolutely amazing restaurants. It's a beautiful hotel. You have the ability to wake up and see animals. Even if you're not staying on Savannah View, there's views from the lobby. And it's one of the lowest point hotels there is in DVC.
Yeah.
It's one of the lowest. I met somebody at Aldi the one day, and she had points at Old Key West, and she goes, I've actually never stayed there because we always stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. She goes, because the points are just so low, and how could once my kids woke up and saw giraffes,
Yeah.
like how could I ever go back from that?
Got to
you know?
keep doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think Animal Kingdom, I think the reason we wanted to do this, wherever this landed. I don't know. We're all over the place, and that's fine. That's our brand. Enjoy. Thanks for subscribing. Is that Animal Kingdom is very undersold, and it's wild to just think in this day and age, and I mentioned this, I'm trying to think if I said this on the show or not, but why I think, we miss the elements of MGM, right? We missed the backlot tour. We missed the animation tour. And when I really thought about it, I said, I think a part of the reason that stuff like that isn't done as much is because of things like YouTube and the internet. People already know how those things are done. They're not as amazed by the behind the scenes aspects because they're seeing it on YouTube. They're like, oh, wonder how that was done. And they look it up in an instant. People have lost, and because people are immersed in their cell phones all the time and they're barely present, they're losing the ability to impress them, right? So here you're...
when you were saying something?
Here you're in Disney. Here you're in Disney, and you are literally surrounded by cheetah and lions and elephants and giraffes and animals you've maybe didn't even realize existed until you took that safari, like a copy. And people are just like looking unimpressed, or even, like I said, we were guilty of it. Like, I'll skip Animal Kingdom. Like, it's sad to me what it takes now to really impress people. And maybe that sounds hypocritical because of the times that we've said about things that maybe are supposed to be like mind blowing. Ours really comes more down to the idea of, like, for me, I'm the theming police, but I do think that people are missing out if they're really not appreciating the value of what Animal Kingdom brings to Central Florida,
No, I think it's neat for people, to see all the animals in one little spot they would never have gotten to see if they're not.
I'm most likely never going to get to Africa. Probably never going to get to Asia.
I probably won't. I'm like, I don't want to take the shots. I'm like, there's all kinds of, I'm not getting all jabbed up to get over there. I'm not in a hurry to do that.
But I think that maybe if people look at it through new eyes and say, especially if you're not going with little kids, but I'd say like small kids, there's stuff there for them too. I do think the loss of Dino Land, like I said, has eliminated a little bit of what was as appealing for them. But if you have older kids, if you have a just adults trip, like, think about really making a full day of Animal Kingdom and just taking it at a really nice pace, because it is a really beautiful park that I think just gets very undersold. Very undersold.
I agree. No, so that's our little walkthrough of Animal Kingdom. I mean,
a safari, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, we're not here trying to cover everything. Here's everything you need to know about this stuff. It's not that kind of thing. You just listen to us chat back and forth with each other about things that make us laugh. And we hope you enjoy when you're listening to these things. Let's go to our shout-outs section of this stuff, because shout-out! Yeah.
I actually feel like this new angle covers you more than me.
That's why I turn it off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because this is what people came to see. Okay.
Yeah. So shout out this week, we were talking about shout out to content creators for Disney, all of you, because again, I love sharing your stuff, but I really do also just love watching your stuff. So does Josh. We like seeing the creativity you've put in there, but also we like to get to know you guys. So the reason that I've been doing these sprinkled thoughts on our stories, because I thought, I get you have to leave one app to go to another to watch our podcast if you're on Instagram or to listen to it. If you can get to know us a little on the app you're already on, then maybe it'll entice you to go listen to the podcast. But also, I just think it's fun to get to know people. I love those of you I've gotten to know. I also want to give the extra shout out to those that are providing the news, because clearly that's what we share, because we're not a news site. We're here for the fun, the entertainment, the memories. That's what we're here for. So those of you that provide that, so when I'm on Instagram, I can see what's the latest updates, what's the latest news, what's happening, and I can stay informed. I really do appreciate that. So thank you. But all of you that have interacted with us, I am very grateful. I feel like I've made some friends. I feel like some people that maybe we even may be meeting up with in future trips. It's great. It's a great community. We say that ad nauseum probably, but the Disney community is really spectacular and supportive, especially I would say on Instagram over TikTok, because there be some mean people over there. But
I laugh at when you try to go. I'd be like, this person. I go, this person has 3 followers and is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I go, that's what they're here for. They get a rise out of you. I just don't let it. I'm like, people just don't. It just doesn't happen.
But
for
we've
me.
all been there for the content that you take time, you think it's creative, you get 3 views, and one of them's your mom. Like, we've all been there for that. So we just want to say, we see you. We appreciate you. We've said this before, but it really is true. We know the struggle. We know the work that goes into it. Again, I want to give a shout out to Josh, who's put so much work, so much so that we didn't even record for a whole week, because he really does take this very seriously and is really very type A about getting everything right with the sound and the production. And I couldn't even begin to do this. We'd be doing this podcast on my phone if it was up to me. I handle the social stuff because people are far more forgiving.
I refer to myself more like type 2 because I have had a whole lot of sugar in me, and I'm convinced I have diabetes. Speaking of diabetes,
Yes.
shout out to our sponsor, Theme Park Chuckle. Go on themeparkchuckle.com and get the Trader Sam's Diabetes Tiki Bar shirt. With drinks this sweet, you'll lose your feet. Why do I feel like I'm targeted? But go on themeparkchuckle.com.
Speaking of which, though, guys, we're getting ready. Obviously this airs later, but for our Disney trip in the month of June, I actually went on and bought 4 Theme Park Chuckle shirts because there are some new designs that are so good. You guys have got to check them out. So go to themeparkchuckle.com because there's some really fun, clever, creative, beautiful looking shirt designs that you can get on there.
I want to remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified. Gina's been drinking. No, you can be notified. Nope, she's back to her again. When our next video will post, so you can get that stuff. Gina, tell them where else they can find us.
Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok at BBT Magic Podcast. We also do have a Facebook, and our podcast, of course, is available on both YouTube and Spotify. So if you're listening on one and not checked out the other, just remember, one is all audio and the other one gives you the benefit of seeing our smiling faces and seeing what outfit I chose to wear this week. So thank you. Right. Please like, subscribe, comment. We want to hear what you think.
Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Bring Back the Magic Podcast. Please watch your head and step as you exit the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bring back the magic for all to see. Together we'll discover all the joy and glow. In every story, there's a little bit of gold. Join our podcast adventure, let the magic unfold.